Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today I have a knife review, and it's a pretty sweet one. I'm super excited for it because it's just awesome, and that is the Spyderco Polestar. Yeah. So check it out. Some real quick things to know about this knife before we get into the specs. This knife, more or less, in a simple way of putting it, is based off the Tenacious, Spyderco Tenacious, and the Byrd Raven 2. So, to keep it real simple, when a Tenacious meets a Raven, and they like each other a lot, they make the Spyderco Polestar. And real quick to look at, basically the handle more or less comes from the Raven 2, and the blade shape and kind of pivot with the bronze phosphorus washers comes from the Tenacious. So there you go. If you want to learn more about these knives, I do have some reviews, so check that in the upper right hand corner. Otherwise, you just look these up and you can see and learn a lot more about them because other people have done reviews on them too. So great knives, by the way. So yeah, so this is the Polestar. It's a sweet marriage between features from the Tenacious and the Raven, and it's an excellent knife, especially for the price. So we'll throw down some specs, get into this, and check out the good, the bad, and whatever else. If you know what I'm saying about this knife. So the overall length is 7.81 inches. The blade length is 3.3 inches, and the cutting edge is 3.15 inches. The blade thickness is 0.13 inches thick. The handle length is 4.51 inches long, and the overall weight of this knife, which is pretty sweet for the size, is 3.9 ounces. So it's under the 4-ounce mark, which, like I said, for a knife this size is pretty awesome. So, getting into it, like I said, the blade is pretty reminiscent of the Tenacious, but some big changes compared to a Tenacious blade is the fact that they do add a small choil for sharpening down here, so the full length of the blade or the cutting edge doesn't go all the way to the actual flats of the tang of the steel, which makes it just a little bit easier to sharpen. It is a flat ground blade, plain edge, and it does taper to the point so you could get that finer cutting. It does have a large Spyder hole. You also can see the Spyder logo there. On the side here it says Spyderco CTS BD1. Oh yeah, and by the way, blade steel BD1. Absolutely love this steel. It's definitely a step up from 8CR13 MOV and any of those other budget steels. And in my experience, Spyderco does an excellent job with CTS BD1. Holds a great edge, and the stain resistance on BD1 is excellent. Then on the back side it says China. So this is considered one of Spyderco's budget line knives, or a more economical knife. But that being said, the materials and the fit and finish on this is actually really top notch for such an affordable blade. It does have some jimping up here on the thumb ramp. It's not as aggressive as a Tenacious, so it doesn't lock it in as solid, but it is better than the Byrd Raven's grip. So I'd say it's like a medium jimping on there for traction. So moving along into the handle. The handle is really reminiscent of the Raven 2. It more or less is the exact same shape. The only difference is there is no forward finger choil. That being said, it does have a little bit more of a pronounced finger guard there that is much more sharply angled, and it actually works really well, and my finger does catch on that. So when I go up to bite up on the thumb ramp, my finger just connects in there, and it's locked in pretty solid, as well as the cutout there. My middle finger then kind of can fold in, and the soft tissue of the pad of my finger actually locks in there and fits okay. My one gripe on the overall ergonomics of the handle is I have large hands, and the swell in the handle back here is really nice for like a hammer grip. So if I want to do kind of like a hammer grip and do some carving or shaving like that, it feels good. But then I feel that it's a little narrow here and almost too long because I'm not all the way up on the handle. So I have all that room, and there's enough room there that you could have potentially put a finger guard, but obviously they were trying to avoid that look. So it's almost like a 2 grip. I scooch up to bite up for finer carving, and then I kind of scooch back for just a meatier grip. So I don't know. I wish it would have been just a hair smaller, or they should have added a finger choil there. There is some jimping underneath, but I found that this jimping isn't very effective at all, and really it's not very noticeable on any forefinger on there. So there is jimping on the liner lock, and as you can see, there's a huge cutout here for the liner lock, so it's easily disengaged and opened. So that's actually really nice. I do like that. And just looking at it from the get-go, you do see this gray. It's kind of like a dark gray, light gray, or almost like a bluish gray checkered pattern on here. It's really different, kind of unique. I don't know if I like it or not, but it's definitely a unique look, and it stands out from the typical single tone G10 that many knives use. The other thing that I really like with the overall look of the handle is the polished metal hardware used on it. And so they're polished, they're flat, and the nice thing compared to the Tenacious or other Spyderco knives like the Raven is that even though the pivot was flat, like it's smooth, it still protruded out. All the hardware on the Polestar is flush with the G10, so it gives it a very slim profile and very sleek, and I really like that. They were also able to save weight by making the stainless steel liners a little bit thinner, as well as if you look, you can see that it is heavily milled out in there. There's a huge section removed in the liner with the lock bar or the liner lock in it. And then on the other side, you can see the holes that are drilled out there to save weight, which is really excellent. Just like the Tenacious and the Raven, it is 4-way positionable pocket clip with a tip up, tip down, left right carry. And as you can see, just like the Raven, there is a bit of the knife still protruding out of the pocket when you have this in the pocket. So I wish if they were to improve on this knife again, maybe do the wire deep carry pocket clip on it just to have it sit lower and in the pocket would be nice. This does have a very large lanyard hole for those of you who like to double up paracord or whatnot. So compared to the Tenacious and the Raven, it has the largest lanyard hole, and I'd say it's not as large as a PM2, but it's getting there. Other than that, that's pretty much the overall look, the fit and feel. Really solid, really enjoy it. So, excellent knife. I love the BD1. Favorite blade steel. I find it to be the best utility steel out there. Really similar to VG10 as far as edge retention. Easy to sharpen, and I can't say enough good things. I use it BD1 all the time, and I love it. So let's compare it to some other knives. We have the PM2, which is kind of a standard knife. We have the Kershaw Blur Tonto in BDZ1. We have the Spyderco Griptilian, or no, it's not Spyderco, excuse me, Benchmade Griptilian. And we have the Cold Steel Recon, or Code 4. And these are all excellent knives, but they all are much more expensive, except for maybe the Blur, than the Spyderco Polestar. So I got the Polestar off Blade H2 for around $60. I've seen it online anywhere from $60 to $75. But you know, soon, it's the first year. It just came out in 2017, so after about a year, the price should drop, and we should see it in the $50 range. So there you have it. Handle lengths. It's similar to PM2. I think the PM2 is the longest besides the Code 4. Blade lengths, it's just over that 3-inch mark, as most of these knives are. So let's compare the blade thickness quickly. Similar. Handle thickness is similar as well. So it's about the same there. Blade thickness is about the same. Handle thickness, it looks pretty similar. The Kershaw might be just a tad thicker. Griptilian, blade thickness is the same. Handle thickness is much more chunkier on the grip. And then blade thickness, it looks like the Cold Steel might be a hair thicker, but the handle is actually thinner on the Cold Steel. So there you go. Alrighty. Oops, don't drop your knives, kids. So there you have it. All I can say is this knife's excellent, but there's one final test to test this, and that is the ugly brown glove test. This test tests if there's good grips and ergos for anyone using a cloth, clumsy, frumpy glove. So holding it in hand, the jimping is sufficient enough to get me some grip on there, plus that little sharper angle finger guard. Though it's pretty small, it actually does help me lock in. The texture on the G10 is like a medium. It's not too terribly tough that it's going to rip up your pockets, but it does give you enough to hold on to the knife. Now trying to deploy the liner lock. Big cutout, easy to find with a gloved thumb. And that big spider hole just helps the blade kick out. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it has the better bronze phosphorus washers in it. And it's just buttery smooth. Could do this all day. So excellent. Actually really good for a gloved hand. So for all you guys using gloves out there, this might be the one for you. So totally passes the ugly brown glove test. Flying colors. That's almost absolute perfection. I'll have to give that like a 98%, 99. I don't think any knife will ever have it perfect, so we'll go 98, but definitely passes. So there you go, guys. This is the Spyderco Polestar, new for 2017. Check it out. I have to give a shout out to JT's Knife Life. I saw his video on this, and I had to have one. I love BD1. I love the Raven. So hits a really nice spot for me. And if it wasn't for JT's video, I totally forgot about this blade, and I probably would have found out about it later than I wanted to. So thank you, JT, for putting out that video right away and sharing that with the rest of us YouTube fans. So there you are, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to know what you think about it. Please click on the eye in the upper right hand corner to check out reviews or links to some of the other videos I have on some of these other knives. And stay tuned for other gear, goo, review stuff from me. Other than that, take care. I'll see you outside.